Behind the walls of a normal flat, something terrible happened. What could make a man do things that are so horrible that they are hard to believe? Stick to the end of this video because you're about to go into Jeffrey Dahmer's scary world. You won't want to miss what's coming, believe me. Today, we will look at Jeffrey Dahmer's life story, who is one of the most scary and well-known criminals in American history. This story is not for people who are easily scared. The things you are about to hear are horrible, and the details will shock you. So, let's begin this horrible journey. Jeffrey Dahmer was born on May 21, 1960. He is an American serial killer and sex offender. Dahmer killed 17 men in horrible ways between the years of 1978 and 1991. His standard operating procedure included raping and dismembering his victims, as well as necrophilia and cannibalism. It is widely assumed that Dahmer had a conventional childhood. Nevertheless, as he got older, he acquired social anxiety and stopped socializing with others. He got less interested in physical pursuits and social interaction as he grew older. He generally drank and stared at dead animals instead of doing anything meaningful with his time. Despite the fact that he continued to drink throughout his high school years, he graduated in 1978. After just 3 weeks, the 18-year-old had committed his first murder. Because his parents were divorcing that summer, Jeffrey was obliged to spend the whole time at the family home by himself. He resolved to take advantage of the occasion to act on the unsettling notions that had been building in his mind. After picking up Stephen Hicks, a hitchhiker, he invited him to his father's house for some beer and talk. However, when Hicks sought to flee, Dahmer whacked him in the back of the head with a 10-pound hammer. Dahmer then dissected, melted, and crushed the corpse before dispersing the ashes and parts of the body across his lawn. Later, he admitted that the sole reason he murdered Hicks was to keep him with them. It would be 9 years before he committed another murder. Dahmer entered college in the fall, but he never completed because he was an alcoholic. His father then compelled him to enroll in the military. From 1979 to 1981, he served his nation as a military physician in Germany. But he never gave up, and when he was released from the army the following spring, he returned to Ohio with his family. His drinking was causing his father increasing distress, so he sent him to West Allis, Wisconsin, to live with his grandmother. He started frequenting gay bathhouses in 1985, where he sedated the men before raping them while they were sexually active. Despite being arrested for public exposure not once, but twice in 1982 and 1986, he was only sentenced to probation and not charged with the rapes. In September 1987, he murdered Stephen Twomey, the second person he had intended to kill. Dahmer picked him up at a pub and brought him to a hotel room, where he found Twomey's motionless body the next morning. After some time had gone, he claimed that he had no recollection of killing Twomey, lending credibility to the theory that he committed it on a whim while asleep. Murders happened here, there, and everywhere after Twomey. 2 people were murdered in 1988, 1 person was killed in 1989, and 4 people were killed in 1990. He would frequently lure men from bars or seek aid from women, then drug, rape, and finally kill them. However, about the same time, Dahmer started doing some very horrifying things to their bodies. He proceeded to sexually abuse them, documented the process of dismembering them, kept the skulls and genitalia of his victims for show, and even ate some of the body parts that he had saved. During this time, Dahmer was arrested for drugging and sexually abusing a 13-year-old kid while they were both working at the Ambrosia chocolate factory. As a result, he was sentenced to 5 years of probation, 1 year in a work release camp, and the need to register as a sexual offender. He was dismissed from the program 2 months earlier than projected after finishing the work program, and he moved into an apartment in Milwaukee in May 1990. Despite having monthly meetings with his probation officer, he was permitted to kill 4 people there that year and 8 more the following year in 1991. By the summer of 1991, Jeffrey Dahmer had murdered around 1 victim every week. He became obsessed with the idea of turning his victims into zombies and using them as young, obedient sexual partners in the process, and it devoured his thoughts. He utilized a number of methods, such as drilling holes in their skulls and injecting them with hydrochloric acid or boiling water, as well as drilling holes in their own heads. Soon after, Dahmer's neighbors started to complain that his room made strange noises and smelled bad. At one point, a lobotomized patient who had been left alone wandered out into the street and asked for help from a number of people. When Dahmer returned, he was able to persuade the cops that the frenzied young man was only his severely inebriated partner. Dahmer's alibi kept him from being apprehended. The police did not do a background check, which would have shown that Jeffrey Dahmer was a serial sexual offender. As a result, he was afforded a little more time to avoid his fate. On July 22, 1991, Jeffrey Dahmer persuaded Tracy Edwards to come to his house by promising money reward in return for her attendance. Dahmer used a kitchen knife to force Edwards into the bedroom when both of them were already there. Edwards was able to flee the struggle and into the street, where he attracted the notice of a passing police car. When the cops arrived at Dahmer's apartment, Edwards told them about the knife that had been concealed in Dahmer's bedroom. The authorities uncovered the photographs of dead people and body parts that led to Dahmer's arrest when they investigated his bedroom. As they proceeded to examine the house, they found additional human remains inside the refrigerator and 3 more severed heads concealed throughout the property. A human heart found inside his refrigerator, and 7 severed human heads were within his room. With the assistance of lighting and severed human skulls, he constructed a shrine in his bedroom. When he was captured, Dahmer admitted to his crimes and immediately started telling the police how awful they were. The hearing for the allegations of killing 15 people leveled against Dahmer started on January 30, 1992. Dahmer claimed that he was insane, despite the fact that there was plenty of evidence against him, since he had scary and uncontrolled cravings. Following a 2-week trial, the judge determined that he was reasonable and found him guilty of 15 counts of murder. He was sentenced to 15 life terms, totaling 957 years in prison. In May of the same year, he filed a guilty plea to the murder of Stephen Hicks, his first target, and was sentenced to life in prison. Dahmer completed his term for the crimes he committed in the Columbia Correctional Institution in Portage, Wisconsin. Dahmer felt regret for his acts while in jail and hoped he could terminate his life. Furthermore, he claimed to have just recently become a Christian after reading the Bible in preparation for his death. While in detention, he was attacked twice by other convicts. They tried to cut into his neck for the first time, but the only harm they inflicted was minor. On the other hand, on November 28, 1994, as he and another inmate were cleaning one of the jail's showers, he was beaten once again by the other inmate. Dahmer was found to be alive, but he died on the way to the hospital from serious head injuries. Jeffrey Dahmer's life and acts show how bad people can be. As we think about this sad part of American history, we can only hope to learn something that will help stop such terrible things from happening again. Thank you for joining us today. Please like this video if you found it informative, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay alert and stay safe. Bye.